Hey there, action takers. Your buddy David B here once again, and I am excited to be back along with our other friend, Teresa Merrick, for a brand new episode of the IDKWTF I Was Doing podcast, the place where we are all about helping you create income from your interests by getting you through that discomfort phase when things start to get tough. Today, we have a very special guest on the show, Remy Archard, who is the expert of all things related to Florida theme parks and the mastermind behind Remy's Roundtable, a podcast with over 250 episodes, and it's still going strong. Today, we're going to dive into some amazing tips and tricks that Remy has to offer on the best ways to travel around the parks and how to prioritize your time in order to have a great trip in Florida. He even tells us how if you play your cards just right, he could even be your personal guide on your next vacation. On top of all that, we're going to cover Remy's journey from how he started with just a simple desire to share his passion with others and how he turned that into a robust podcast, being the go-to resource for any Florida traveler, and how it's opened up some great doors and fun perks in his everyday life. Remy has been in the game for a while, and with his vast experience and knowledge, he's the perfect person to help us out. So, if you've struggled with planning your next vacation, or if you've thought about turning your passion into a podcast, you definitely won't want to miss this episode. So be sure to listen all the way through, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because Remy drops some incredible insight that you won't find anywhere else. So action takers, sit back or buckle up and let's get ready to learn from our new friend, Remy Archard. Have you ever started something new and didn't finish it?
You were excited. You invested time and money.
You got stuck.
I'm Teresa Merrick.
And I'm David B.
And this is the podcast with two ADHD entrepreneurs, and we've been there.
And worked with hundreds of people in the exact same place.
The IDKWTF I Was Doing podcast will take you away from feelings of frustration and overwhelm.
And lead you to the clarity you need to take action and get shit done.
Listen today because it's important to admit that no one really knows
what the fuck they're doing.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the IDKWTF podcast. I am David B.
And I'm Teresa Merrick.
And we are here with a wonderful guest, Mr. Remy from Remy's Roundtable podcast. And we're really excited to have you on here today.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on you guys' program, and I can't wait to have some fun with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. I love amusement parks, so I'm all down. If you guys don't know Remy, we're going to talk amusement parks today and a little bit of podcasting, and Remy has a wealth of knowledge in both of these areas, so we're excited to have you on, Remy.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit kind of about yourself for our listeners who don't yet know you, and kind of like what you're doing and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, well, so guys, I am out in the beautiful state of Florida, so that's where we are located, and our podcast is pretty much we talk about what's happening, some cool things are happening in Florida, but we mostly focus on what's happening at the theme parks. So I'm pretty much like the inside guy. I have so much knowledge with the theme parks because I used to work at the theme parks. I used to work at Disney, Universal. I used to work at SeaWorld. I used to work in food and beverages. I used to work at the attractions. I used to work with my management team. And right now, I am currently working at a third-party independent contractor within the Disney theme parks. So we take photos. So anytime you guys see like a green screen effect, yeah, that's us. We sell those photos to you guys. We mostly sell ride photos at Universal Studios. And we will be located at Universal Epic Universe when it opens in 2025.
Nice. That's super exciting. So how did you kind of get into that?
Yeah, have you always lived in Florida or did you move
there? Yeah, I've been here all my life. And when I was little, I've always wanted to work at a theme park. I mean, my dad, he used to be a contract musician for Disney. And that's how I kind of want to work with Disney with my dad. So I took the next step up above and, hey, once I get my teen years, I want to work for Disney or Universal. And that's what I did. I started working for both at the same time because I want to make a little bit of a wage and a little bit of a living so I can go back to school hey guys, yeah, you know what? Lunch is on me today. Let's go. They're like, where are we going? Go. We're going right down the street. Let's go. Let's go grab some lunch somewhere. And I did that, and a couple of buddies of mine are like, hey, is there any chance you can get me into the park? I'm like, yeah, for $100, sure, why not? Yeah.
Well, I love Disney. I've loved Disney movies, Disney everything since I was a kid. My parents love Disney. My family loves it. So it's like we don't live anywhere near a park. But actually my sister lives near Clearwater now. Now it's a little more convenient when we want to go to the park.
Okay, but still, Clearwater, that's a far drive from the theme parks. That's actually a pretty long ass drive.
A couple hours. Well, David and I live in Chicago,
yeah.
and we only live like for us to get to the mountains, it's a couple hours to get in the middle. So to me, 2 hours is not.
Yeah, but aren't you guys the Weed County though? I mean,
we're one of the two states.
Yeah.
That started it. It was like Washington and Colorado. Yes, we started with legalized marijuana, but
love it.
Now it's almost everywhere, right?
Except for Florida, we don't have it yet. We do not have. We don't even have close to it. We're like, can you guys just bring it for us? I can smoke a little bit for work every day. I mean, please and thank you.
I think Florida is a little more conservative than Colorado in general.
Yeah, I've noticed that. So it's
so that might be why it's taking longer.
Please, we need it. Some of us who work at theme parks, we need it desperately.
We did. We just decriminalized psilocybin too from mushrooms, which is pretty wild. I'm excited for that research to come out. I think that's going to be super cool.
Yeah, especially David and I both have ADHD, and I've actually
same here.
I microdosed mushrooms a while back, and it was like the calmest I've felt ever in my entire life. It was crazy because my friends were like, do you want to try it? And I like did my research on it because I was like, I don't know. I am not a drug person. I'm very naive, but next time I have the opportunity, I'm absolutely going to do it again.
Well, let's put it this way. I had a bad experience with shrooms, and let's just say I took them at a certain theme park.
Oh no!
And I was on a certain ride that I should have never went on with one of my coworkers, and I didn't. I was just tripping out.
Well, that's why I like microdosing, because also when I took them, it was like a tiny little bit.
No, I was like full on tripping. I was like, "What did I get myself into?"
I would not want to be at a theme park in that state ever. That does not sound.
I mean, it was fun. I was like, you know what? I'll do it once. Let's see what happens. And I did, and I'm like, yeah, this is not going to happen ever again.
Well, speaking back of theme parks, because I want to know, will you tell our viewers what kind of information are they going to get when they go check out your podcast?
So pretty much like the first part of the show is just me, my wife, and our co-host. We kind of bullshit around for a little bit, and then towards the end of the program, we give you guys the updates. Pretty much we give you guys the news on what's happening at the theme parks. If it's the refurbishments, if it's rumors, if it's something that's going to be happening or coming soon to the theme parks, I'm that guy. So, hey guys, check this out. We have this coming to this theme park. We have this and right. Some of these restaurants are closed, but there are more options you guys can take a look at. There's also more attractions you guys can still check out while you guys are at the theme parks. I mean, there are many things to do other than going to Disney or going to Universal or going to different attractions here in Florida. I mean, we are the theme park capital for a reason. That's why we have our dictatorship. We have Mickey Mouse, who is all of dictator of all the theme parks. That's my little theme park joke right there for today. Yeah, I mean, everybody's like, oh, let's go to Disney. Oh, wait, how much is the ticket? Shit, it's $400? No, we're gonna pass on that. How much? It's wild. It's $400. Yeah. So is
that park hopper or just one part?
That is actually with park hopper. So
because I was gonna say I think it's a little less to go to, but I'm like, I mean, you want the park hopper pass.
You do want it. Yeah,
I haven't been to Disney in a long time, but I do know that.
But the cool thing about it is whenever I have my family in town, they're like, hey, we're going to Disney. Is there a chance you can get this day off? I'm like, absolutely. You guys let me know when. I'll meet you guys out. I'll meet you guys at that park. Let me make a reservation real quick, and then I'll be your personal tour guide. And yes, you guys can use my discounts. I don't care. You guys can just use them. And that's how I do it with my friends and my family members all the time. If they want to just watch a budget, I'm like, here, use my discount. I don't care. Just use it. And they're like, here's the cash. Here's a card. Boom, buy whatever you guys want, just use my discount. They're like, oh, thank you so much. Plus, I get a really good discount at some of the Disney restaurants on property which is
Mhm.
amazing.
Well, Remy, I'm gonna have to stay in touch with you in the next couple of years. We've been planning. I've been wanting to take my kids and do Disney, and
Yeah.
they're really good ages. Like in the next year or two, I have a 14-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
Okay, so I recommend you starting out at Universal, because that's like more teen type of park, where Disney's like more,
Well, when we come do it, we're gonna come spend a couple weeks and like
oh hell yeah.
get up and go to all the places. And I mean, and it doesn't always have to be. I mean, like I want to go to Epcot and tool around Epcot, and if my kids are not the most excited that day, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be getting food and having fun, and it'll be fine. But no, absolutely. And I haven't been to Universal, gosh, in a really, really, really long, probably like close to 15 years. I haven't been to the parks.
Yeah,
And there's
a
so
lot of
much I want to
things,
do at Universal.
I mean, there's a lot of things that have been changed out there lately. So, of course, we have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which I'm sure you guys are fans of. We have that. There's the newest roller coaster over at Islands of Adventure. It's called Velocicoaster, where you go about 70 to 80 miles per hour, and
Whoa.
it's a lot of fun.
My friend, I have a friend who just came back from taking a trip out there, and she had so much fun. She was telling me about the coaster. She was telling me about Hagrid's ride, and
That
like,
is a fun ride.
yeah, it's funny. Her and her boyfriend, they were able to go twice that day, and they swapped. One was on the motorcycle, and then one was in the car. And it's so funny. The one where she's on the motorcycle, her hair is like back. She has like really long. Like, to get that girl's hair to blow back like that. Holy
So,
crap.
I mean, the cool thing about that ride is that you have different experiences on that attraction. So, whether if it's on a motorcycle or if it's on a sidecar, you still get a different experience every single time. And when I first went there for the grand opening, yeah, I got stuck on that ride for
no.
at least an hour.
No.
Oh no,
Yeah,
That's not fun.
it just broke down.
Actually, it was fun, and I'm telling you, it was fun to get stuck on that ride. I'm like, yes, I got stuck on Hagrid's. What else can I get stuck on today? It was towards one of the launch sequence part, and as soon as we got stuck, I'm like, shit, I'm gonna be here for a while. And once it kicked on, we went flying through the launch. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a cool experience. Let's not do this again.
So, Remy, what would you say if someone had a week to spend in Florida just to theme park hop? What is like the ideal order of parks they should go in?
Yeah, and the stuff they can't miss.
Dude, there is no order. You're going to Florida for a reason. You're going to the theme parks. You don't have to make some of the theme parks you can knock out in just in one day. So, like for instance, you can knock out Universal and Islands of Adventure in one day, because there's more rides over at Universal side, but there's also more other attractions to do over in Islands of Adventure. So once you get that little park hopper pass they have over there, you can just knock them out in one day. That's not a problem. Disney, however, you have to take a little more time with Disney. So
Okay.
do one day Universal, knock all those rides out. Disney, you can do like Magic Kingdom one day, Epcot one day, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom.
But what are your favorites like that you wouldn't miss if someone didn't have enough time to do one day at a park in Disney?
So I will stick with Universal. I mean, yes, I talk about Disney a lot, but there's some point in my life where I'm like, I don't like Disney. I don't want to be with Disney. But Universal is actually one of my favorite parks, and there's lots of more thrill rides out there. Like I said, we have the Velocicoaster, which that coaster goes up to 70, 80 miles per hour with that attraction. We have Marvel. We have some really cool kids zones area that kids can check out. More interactive stuff. We have E at Universal. I mean, who cannot say no to E? I mean, that's like the icon of Universal. So,
what's your favorite Marvel stuff? Because David is a Marvel guy.
Marvel fan.
all right, so like character wise, or as in like
For the rides or the
Yeah,
attractions?
for the attractions.
the Incredible Hulk. That's my favorite coaster. And that is the only attraction I will go on at Islands of Adventure is the Incredible
Wow.
Hulk.
Okay.
Because I used to work at that attraction. And if I got stuck on that ride, I'll be like, okay, folks, now hang tight. Just wait here. Where are you going? Hey, guys, yeah, I can get up real quick. Hold on. I can just get out of my seat. The Incredible Hulk is one of my favorite attractions at Islands of Adventure over by Marvel Island. We also have the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, which is a motion simulator ride. and you're
I've seen.
you're swinging across from Spider-Man. You're having fun with him. Although it's not Tom Holland, it's not Andrew Garfield, and it's not Tobey Maguire. No, it's the original guy. It was the original voiceover who did the animated series of Spider-Man.
Oh, really? Yeah. Like the 90s animated?
90s animated series, yeah.
That's cool. That's way cool.
Yeah.
I could see you nerding out about that, David, being like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
guy!"
And there are tons of Marvel meet and greets out there. You meet your favorite Marvel superheroes. You can also meet your favorite Marvel villains out there. But all the other Marvel characters are all over at a Disneyland California adventure.
Okay.
We have some of your favorites, but not all of them. We don't have Doctor Strange. We don't have Black Panther.
Okay.
You gotta go to California to do
Cali.
those ones.
Yeah, they're in California. Yeah.
Interesting.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's take just a quick break and hear from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Have you ever started something new that you were really excited about and invested time or money into, but after doing it for a while, you reach a point and you just feel like, I have no idea what the F I'm doing?
There's that bubbling up of frustration because you're not quite as good as you thought you'd be, or it's nowhere near as easy as you expected. Then suddenly, a wave of guilt comes at the same time, and you don't really want to or feel like you can express this to anyone.
Having a dream you want to accomplish can be very sad and isolating. It's lonely because visionaries tend to see the world the way that it could be instead of settling for the way the world currently is, like most people do.
We believe this so deeply that we wrote a book with the exact 4 steps to help.
This guide is designed to take you out of that feeling of frustration and overwhelm and lead you into the calmness and clarity that you need to reach the life that you know in your heart you're destined to have.
If you've started a project or a goal but have stopped, gotten stuck, or are starting to feel burned out, this is 100% the book for you.
Go to IDKWTFpodcast.com today and download your digital copy with the coupon code ACTION to get it on us, because we want to join you and be your supportive friends and partners throughout your journey.
It's only free for a limited time if you use the code ACTION by going to our website, IDKWTFpodcast.com.
Check it out today and let's get unstuck together.
Welcome back, everyone. And so, Remy, is one thing that we do like to ask all of our guests, because we are the IDK WTF I Was Doing podcast. There are so many of us out there that just don't know what we're doing, and it's frustrating, right?
Yeah.
And so what we like to do with this podcast is really kind of normalize that and bring it into conversation, because the only way to get to where you want to go is to go through all the hard parts, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's so easy to give up, though, when you don't see other people struggling, because everything that's shown is just the end. And a lot of the time, like, that struggle isn't glamorized in most modern media.
Right.
So one thing we do like to ask everyone is say, what's like your biggest failure or the biggest struggle that you've overcome, or like one of the biggest mistakes that you've learned from kind of in your process in life?
So when I first started podcasting, I wanted like the high quality audio setup. Like, I wanted the new Shure mics. I want a new audio interface that made me sound a lot smoother and cleaner while I'm recording. So my very first episode, I was recording everything through my cell phone, and it was just bull. I didn't like the audio quality. I hated the sound. I'm like, why do I sound like shit on this audio? And I've been talking to other radio personnel here in Florida, and I'm actually really good, close friends with them. And they're like, Remy, you gotta keep pushing. Don't give up. Just keep doing what you're doing. You love being on broadcasting. You love talking to people. I'm like, I do. So it's just the quality. Like, I hate audio quality. And that's one of my passions. I want everything to be crystal clear, no static, no nothing, just nice, smooth, quality sound. And that was one of my big struggles. But then once I started doing more episodes, I started grabbing sponsors and getting more listeners, which I call them my Patreon members. So they contribute to the program, and that's how we get these nice setups. Like, we get our nice mic handles, we get new Shure mics, we get a new audio interface, we get a new laptop, we get a new headphones. This is what it's all about. This is how you show your brand off. It's a lot of work, but man, I love it. It's just a lot of fun to do to do a podcast.
Yeah. What was it that sparked you starting Remy's Roundtable? What was the, like, of all the things you could do with your amusement park knowledge, right? What was it that made you want to do the podcast?
So I was outside. I was actually sitting outside my parents' backyard. And it was a nice, beautiful Florida day, 75-degree weather. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to do this right now. It was just a 20-minute episode I did. And I was like, what can I call this first? So Remy's Roundtable wasn't really Remy's Roundtable at the beginning. My podcast name was Goof Duck Adventures. And because Goofy and Donald Duck cross, Goof Duck. So that's my first podcast name. And I'm like, okay, what can I talk about? What am I passionate about? I'm like, I'm passionate about the theme parks because I've worked at all of the theme parks and I know the knowledge very well with these theme parks. So when it comes to knowledge to these places, I want to let our audience members know what they can expect at the theme parks because they don't know what they're doing there. They don't know what things are closed or what things are still open or what restaurants are really cool to check out. So I'm that guy. Like I want to give you guys some really cool tips about where are the cool stuff to check out on if you're at Disney or if you're at Universal or if you guys are going to go to SeaWorld. I mean, there are lots of cool stuff you guys can check out at those locations. And so we kept using Goof Duck Adventures for a while. As the years go by, I got married and my wife and I were talking and I'm like, hey, honey, I know you don't like being on camera. I know you don't like being on audio and stuff, but I could really use your help. I need you to help me out with my podcast. And she goes, done. Whatever you need, you just let me know. We'll make it happen. So I didn't want to get sued by Disney because I called it Goof Duck Adventures.
That was literally what I was going to ask if they sent you a cease and desist letter.
Yeah, if they made it.
They did not.
No, you just changed it before they.
I changed it. So I'm like, what's a cool name? I mean, I used to work in food restaurants and food and beverages. I'm like, you know what? How does Remy's Roundtable sound? Like, wow,
it sounds great. I actually love it.
Podcast. So this is just us hanging out at the round table, just us talking and talking about the theme park. So I came up with that idea, and I'm like, you know, that's how the journey became Remy's Roundtable.
Yeah,
and it's fun. I've been getting reviews and like, wow, this podcast is different, but man, these guys are funny as hell. I'm like, well, thank you so much.
No, I definitely like the one I listened to was like This Day in Disney. So like I really liked those like little facts that you brought up. And then I was listening to another one and you guys did the pop quiz with each other of like Disney facts.
They lost so bad.
Is there something you always ask people about Disney that they never get right?
No, because I like whenever I like mess around their head, I'm like, hey, when was Walt Disney born? Or what year did Walt Disney died? And they're like, what? Wait, what? I'm like, but I ask them like other questions, like when was Space Mountain open?
See, if you ask me Disney questions, I can answer lots of Disney questions. But when you're asking me questions about what year, I'd be like, I have no idea.
Yeah. So with the podcast, you have some sponsors. You've had some cool interviews, right? Has it gotten you any other like big perks with Disney, or because you already get like a pretty good discount, so don't get free tickets or anything?
No, but
like special behind the scenes stuff.
Well, since I'm an independent contractor, we don't really get that stuff, so we barely get comps for our family and friends. But so back to the interviews, like the cool thing about me, my friend with his program, my good friend Scott, he says, Remy, how in the world do you get these people to be guests on your program? Like, dude, it's easy. Just send them an email, ask them if they want to be a guest, and if they say yes, cool. But just keep it professional, keep it very professional. And if they say no, then move on. Just move on with the programming. That's not a big deal.
Who's your favorite person you've interviewed?
My very favorite person who I interviewed. Well, he's actually one of my favorite comedians, John Caparulo. He goes by Cap. I interviewed him, and he actually remembered me. This was years ago because I went to the comedy improv here in Florida, and that's how him and I met. And he goes, Remy, I remembered you, man. I remember from the improv. I'm like, what's up, Cap? How you doing, man? Nice. And we kind of talked about his journey on becoming a comedian and being on these different shows. And I pulled up his IMDb, and he was on a Disney show that I never heard of. I'm like, I'll be damn. All right, you were on this program, cool. And then mostly it was just him talking about his comedy, like his comedy career. He was on Chelsea Handler for quite some time.
Wow. Okay.
So we just kept talking about his career. Yeah.
Any other cool or fun people you've interviewed?
I met the Orlando Magic announcer because I'm an Orlando Magic fan, so I had to interview him. And plus I got a free game out of it, so I was able to watch a basketball game. And after the game was over, I was able to go to the press conference after the game was over. So that was a pretty cool experience. But during that interview, his name is Mr. Paul Porter. He is the Orlando Magic announcer. Yes, he's been on a couple of NBA games as well as the announcer. And we were talking literally courtside seats right there, just doing the interview. And a couple of Magic players came by, they were talking and stuff. I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? How you guys doing? Hey, what's up? How you doing? But my main focus was just and I had a blast just interviewing him right there on courtside seat because that's one of my dreams, to have courtside seats to a Magic game. Just one game, courtside seats. I'm like, all right, finally got leg room. All right.
Yeah, nice.
Right
That's
on.
awesome. Yeah.
It's exciting. I'm sure they have very interesting stories.
Oh, they have plenty of stories. At one of them, I was like, damn, that's all I can say. I was like, I was speechless. I didn't have any more questions to ask him. And then I just pretty much asked, what I do was I kind of stole James Lipton from inside the actor studio. I kind of stole his top 10 questions afterwards with the guests. I do that every single interview with my guests. And they like it. I'm like, well, okay, this is going to stay for the interviews now. Yeah.
Is there any other formatting that you like to keep for your podcasts? Obviously, for the interviews, you have a list of 10 questions, but is there any other formatting that you like to keep that you feel like works really well for you?
So when it comes to formatting, I really don't have a format. I just go with the flow. So whatever is on my mind, I want to talk about it. And then once towards the intro, we talk about the theme park updates and this day in Disney history, and we'll talk about our sponsors and whatnot. But when it comes to the guests, I am more focused on the guests. I want to know what was your career like, or what made you become a musician, or who was your top influencers? What made you become a broadcaster or a radio personnel or a podcaster? So these are the main questions I'll be asking my guests. And then after that, I'll just go, all right, before you leave, do you mind if I ask you guys, the top 10 questions from Mr. James Lipton? And they go, whoa, what? I'm like, yeah. They're like, sure, why not? Let's go ahead and do it. And they did it. And I'm like, wow, this is a fun episode. I'm like, and now of course I'll say, hey, thank you so much for being on with us, and let us know where can everybody check you out so they can follow you on social media. And then that's pretty much it. And that they're still on the air, they still want to chat for a little bit longer because we're still catching up and stuff. I'm like, hey, is there any chance I can have you say, hey, this is so-and-so, and you're listening to Remy's Roundtable? And they're like, absolutely, no problem.
Oh, yeah. That's super fun. Okay, so I have another question for you. So you do Patreon, you use Patreon.
Yes.
What other ways have you gone about monetizing your knowledge? Have you? Because it sounds like you really know what you're talking about when it comes to all of the amusement parks in your area. And I know there's probably some things you can't do, because that's what I was talking to David about. You can't use an app and monetize it because they allow you to, unfortunately.
Exactly.
But I just wonder if there's anything else you can do or that you've tried to do.
So here's the thing. I really don't focus on monetizing. I just want our listeners to just enjoy the program. Yes, it's cool to get a couple bucks here and there, but I just want our audience members to just say, man, this is a fun episode. How much more? What more episodes how can I listen to more of this program? So I'm like, hey, follow us on Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're all over social media. And I put a little joke in. I go, well, if you guys want to see me get killed in Call of Duty, you can also join our Twitch channel. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
It's fun, pushing the brand out there, but in a way type of fun style. And I'm also I use tpublic.com for all of our merchandise. So I get a little bit extra on that. But if any of my friends and family who are listening to this program, IDK what WTF podcast or Remy's Roundtable, I am sponsored with a couple of local restaurants, a couple of local breweries here in Florida, so they can check out. And that's pretty much how I want them to check out some other things to do here in Florida as well.
Cool. So what do your listeners get when they hop on your Patreon? What is the bonus content look like?
So the bonus content is you'll be able to join our Zoom channel. You'll also be able to join our Zoom chat room. You also be part of our stream channel on our Remy's Roundtable Facebook page. And that's for $3 a month. For $5 a month, we'll throw in a t-shirt, sticker, mag, and with our brand name on it. We'll ship it to you, and you will also be part of our Zoom channel and our streaming channel as well. And then I believe I put this down for $10 a month. If you are, I call this a VIP coaster, because here's what I'll do. For $10 a month, I'll be your personal tour guide for a theme park. If it's at Universal or at Disney, I will be your personal tour guide. Plus, you guys will be able to use my discount, and I'll be more than happy to autograph your park map for you. And that's kind of the cool bonus perk I have with that.
It's going to be when they all travel. They're going to be like, all right,
yeah,
I got to upgrade because I'm going to Disney.
If you guys want to see some cool tricks and some cool tips, you guys just let me know. I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm like, all right, we're going. Remy, where are we going first? We're going to Epcot. Why? We're drinking around the world. So there we go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Well, what's the final message or the big 3 tips that you would love for our listeners to know?
Sure. Well, the first tip is please follow Remy's Roundtable on all social media. So that's a really cool thing to check out. Also, number 2, if you are traveling to the beautiful state of Florida, I recommend you guys try to get a park hopper, because you guys can park hop on whatever theme park you're at. That's a really good tip to use.
Worth the money for it?
So it's totally worth the money. It's totally worth it. Usually Universal and Disney have different dining package deals that you guys can check out. And they're all wonderful perks to use inside the park.
So the package deals are actually worth what they are.
It. Yeah. Although Disney hasn't brought their dining package plan yet. Universal, they have great dining experiences there. Some of them, like during their Mardi Gras events or during their Halloween Horror Night events, they have great deals you guys can check out. And if you guys like going to Universal, you guys might as well just upgrade to an annual pass, because that's what my wife and I did. We're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and just go ahead and get Universal annual passes, because we will use them. And that's why I do on my days off, because I'm out at Universal getting content, walking around, taking pictures, seeing what the wait times are like. And I'm like, all right, you know what? It's a slow season. No wonder our wait times are at 15 to 20 minutes. So it's a beautiful time to go on these rides out there. If it's a busy season, like, you guys should never, and I repeat, never come during November and December. Just don't even bother.
Oh, because all the holiday stuff, huh?
All the holiday stuff.
Crazy. You wouldn't think that. You would think, I mean, I'm sure summer is busy. Frankly, I don't want to go in the summer. It's too hot for me.
Too hot.
But that's interesting. No November and December. Got it.
Because here's why. Because Magic Kingdom will be fully, so they won't have any more park reservations. But on the other hand, all the other theme parks, they're open, so you guys be able to get more reservations out of it. So yeah, I guess those are your tips for the theme park.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. It was a pleasure to have you on our podcast. And where can our listeners find, you mentioned it a little bit, but where can our listeners find out more about you?
So if you guys want to listen to Remy's Roundtable, just head on over to Spotify, iHeartRadio, just type in Remy's Roundtable. And if you guys are looking to become a member of the Roundtable family, just head on over to patreon.com/Remy's Roundtable. Only for $3 a month, you can join our Zoom channel, our Discord, Twitch channel, and yes, you guys will see me get killed in Call of Duty. So why not just join that $3 a month Patreon membership right there? Also, if you guys are planning to travel to the beautiful state of Florida, I recommend you guys use Sandpiper Vacations, because they are a great travel agency, and they will book pretty much everything for you totally free. You don't have to do absolutely free.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. And we'll have all those links in our show notes for our listeners too.
Right on. Well, thank you again so much, Remy. It has been a pleasure to have you on our show.
Well, anytime. I mean, if you guys want me back on your program, just give me a shout, and I'll be more than happy to come back on your guys' program.
Perfect. Yeah, right. Well, thanks everyone, and we will see you on our next episode. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please consider liking, subscribing, and/or reviewing us on wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Also, if there's someone you know who clearly doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, and would benefit from this topic, please hit that share button and send them this episode.
Let's normalize the feeling of uncertainty.
Asking for help and admitting that we don't know
What the fuck we're doing either.